Hello, good evening everyone. Magandang gabi po sa ating lahat and welcome to Sash Factor, and this is another episode of our Sash Factor live chat series. I am your host for tonight. My name is Noy Sabilano, and for our Friday night chat we have our very special guests from Mr. and Miss Chinatown Philippines 2020. But before I introduce them, of course, let me say thank you to all of our viewers for the early support for our interview for tonight. And of course, we are inviting everyone for your enthusiastic participation later in the comment section. Kasi later, we'll have a chance to read your comments and your questions for our special guests for tonight. So without further ado, let's introduce our guests from Mr. and Miss Chinatown Philippines 2020, starting off with the ladies, of course, si Cassandra Chan. Hi, Cassandra.
Hello, hi
Good evening.
Noy. Good evening.
Ayan. Cassandra Chan is one of the candidates for Mr. and Miss Chinatown Philippines 2020. Thank you, Cassandra, for being with us tonight. I'll be with you in a bit, okay?
Yes,
Thank you, Cassandra. Next up is another lady for Mr. and Miss Chinatown, Annie Uzon. Annie, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Ayan, napakagaganda naman ang ating mga candidates for this year. To all of the to both of the ladies tonight, maraming salamat for being with us tonight. And of course, now let's have the gentlemen guests for tonight. Let's start off with Beef Ko. Hi, Beef.
Hi guys, how are you doing?
Hello. Hi, Beef.
Hi guys. What's
Ayan.
up?
Hi. Yes, thank you for being with us. And para naman makapagsimula ng ating conversation for tonight, let's introduce our last guest, of course, si Don Tang. Hi, Don. Good evening.
Good evening. Hi, Noy. How are you?
Hi, doing great. So again, ladies and gentlemen, these are four of our candidates for the title Mr. and Miss Chinatown Philippines 2020. Palakpakan niyo yung mga sarili niyo for being here, everyone. Yes, okay. So this is going to be a Friday night conversation, but before we begin our special segments for tonight, ano muna, like short kamustahan muna, although we've done this before during the a little bit. Pero I just like to know, for the benefit of all our fans right now, kamusta kayo right now during this Friday evenings? Cassandra, how are you right now?
Hi Noy. I'm actually doing quite well. I just finished my class with my students around 5. So it's sorry, it's great. I'm having a great time, and I think I'm gonna really enjoy this time with you guys. I'm very excited for that.
Okay, thank you, Cassandra. Yes, it's going to be a fun time. Kamusta naman si Annie? Annie, kamusta ka naman right now?
Hi. Actually, okay naman ako right now kasi galing ako sa shoot for a challenge for Mr. and Miss Chinatown. So I think you guys should watch out. So yun.
Oh, may mga pa-sneak peek si Annie Uzon. Thank you, Annie, for being here. What about Beef? Kamusta naman si Beef? How are you right now? Beef, naka-ano ka?
I came from shoot also like Annie. We have a challenge, and we're really excited to show you guys what the challenge is. But after that, we had a quick workout, and I'm ready for the weekend.
Yes, a weekend it is. And finally, si Don. Don, kamusta naman? Baka gusto mo i-share sa live fans natin kung anong ginawa mo before this live interview. Kamusta ka?
I know. So to all the live fans, I actually came from a nap. So I'm well rested. I have a lot of energy, and I'm very happy to be here.
Yes. Buti pa si Don Tang, maraming energy for tonight. Again, we're gonna take one interview for Sash Factor. But then before we begin, let us check if they're already on the comment section para naman medyo maging energetic for tonight. Actually, we have one here. Cara Farin says here, #Rise with Don. So, meron ka, oh yan, meron kang supporter right now. Great, okay. And we have, of course, another supporter, this time naman para kay Annie, si Kyle Bartolome. Annie would like to say #Rise with Annie. Ayan. There you go. Hi naman kayo sa mga fans ninyo, guys. There. And then we also have here si Jan Richard Garcia. This time, saying hi to OMG. Hi, Ate Cassandra Bermeo Chan. Complete name talaga siya.
Oo, name
Nagbumati.
talaga na. Parang pinapagalitan ako.
At syempre, magpapahuli ang isang supporter ni Beef, si Zia Ko. Who is Zia Ko? Beef. Sabi niya, #rice with beef.
She's actually my sister. There are two of them watching right now, so full support of the family.
They are supportive ang friends and family and all of your fans. So to all of our viewers for tonight, maraming salamat. So keep the comments and the message of support for our special guests coming in the comment section because we're about to begin our very first segment. So ano muna to? Fun and light segment muna to because I am not too sure how close you are exactly right now. I don't know, like bonded or whatever during the virtual competition. Ano lang to? Light segment just to make sure that you already like know a thing or two about each other. So this is two truths and a lie. Okay? So to all of the fans, you are also invited to join in the fun. What we're going to do tonight is we're going to ask each of our contestants to state or to mention 3 statements. Okay? And ang gagawin natin, the other members of the panel, the other guests, myself, and the fans can guess which of the 3 statements is the lie. O, di ba? Tingnan natin kung sino sa kanila ang magaling magsinungaling in a Friday evening. Okay? Okay, who wants to do this fun segment? Sige, I'm just going to pinpoint one. Sige, si Beef muna. Beef. Okay. What are and your lie?
Actually, Don, no, we actually had this 2 truths in the lie before, so we're gonna try to change it up our answers so we don't have the same 2 truths in a lie.
Sige, sige.
I would say I have 18 dogs. I am not a fan of alcohol, and I don't like fruits.
Ay. Oh, sige. So nagawa na pala nito segment na to pero iba yung statements. So again, Beef, can you repeat the statements?
So I have 18 dogs.
18 dogs.
I'm not a fan of alcohol.
Okay.
And I don't like fruits.
Okay. So sige, we're going to show our choices by using 1, 2, or 3. Okay? Ready na ba kayo, Cassandra, Annie, and Don? Okay? 1, 2, 3. Lie kay Beef.
Iba-iba.
O sige, so 1 ako, 1 si Annie, 1 si Don, 3, 3, matapang si Cassandra. Siya ang naiiba. Okay. Beef, what is the lie over there sa iyong statements?
The lie is actually oh wait, actually I made it wrong. I screwed up there. So it's actually supposed to be I like fruits, not I don't like fruits.
So technically, tama si Cassandra. So, ang
Yeah.
lie talaga ay
I like fruits.
you like fruits. Okay.
Yeah.
So ano lang, so let's do like a follow-up on that. Bakit ayaw mo ng so the truth is you like fruits, right?
I do not.
I do not like fruits. Bakit ng fruits? Maybe just a little follow-up on that.
Okay, it's kind of weird actually. The only fruit I ever ate was actually an apple when I was a kid, and then when I was growing up, it's kind of weird when they say I get intimidated by how they look.
So
Yeah.
Puro ng mga prutas when you were younger.
Yeah, and then when I grew up, I just started not minding of eating fruits, and apparently I'm more of a vegetable person than a fruit person. So it stick when I was a kid. I don't know. It was weird.
Seryoso, o diba? O, weird fun fact, Beef, ayaw niya ng prutas because of the way they look. O diba? Teacher Cassandra, meron bang explanation doon? Ano nang nangyari kay Beef? Since teacher ka, meron bang explanation dyan?
I can't think of anything right now. Pero alam ko, tama yung first statement niya, yung 18 dogs. Kasi parang nakita ko ata sa stories niya na marami siyang dogs. So I know that's the truth.
Thank you, B, for sharing that information about yourself. Now, let's move on to kay Annie. Sige, Annie. Let's see if you are a bigger liar than Beef. Sige, what are your three?
So okay, first one is I love math and I love numbers. Second one is my parents are supportive of everything that I do. And thirdly, I eat a lot, literally everything.
Ay, sige. Doon tayo sa less controversial. Okay, doon ako sa number 1.
Number, feeling ko 2.
So, 1 kami ni Don, 2 si Beef, tsaka si Cassandra. Sige, Annie, what is the lie among your 3 statements?
The lie is number 2.
Ito, like a little follow-up. Bakit number 2? I mean, maybe a little bit about that statement.
Kasi my parents are parang more business-oriented sila na person. So they don't support me in they don't support me in joining pageants, in modeling, and lalo na they don't support me pursuing a career in the man's world kasi I took up architecture. So parang gusto nila like more business-oriented ako. So yun.
Okay. And then, what is your reaction with you joining Mr. and Miss Chinatown Philippines this year? I mean, what are their thoughts about this?
Actually, every pageant that I joined, hindi sila talaga supportive. But this year, I joined without them knowing it. I auditioned alone, just to avoid the negative energy ba. But right now, I think they knew about it na since social media.
Correct.
So, yun, I just tell them na just don't say anything if they're not gonna support me. Diba? Para to avoid the negative energy.
So parang nakatulong pa yung fact na it's virtual. You can actually do your thing like on your inside your room without anyone seeing you, no? So parang it
Actually,
works.
I don't live with them there in the province and I live in Manila right now. So parang mag-isa ko and I do everything alone. So, yun.
Wow, strong independent Filipino right here.
Thank you.
Okay, now let's have si Don naman. Let's see si Don. Tingnan natin kung energetic na talaga siya dahil nakatulog siya kanina. Don, what are your...
Yeah, so I'll try to give you guys a good one. The first one is I once lost my wallet overseas, and as a result, the bus that I was supposed to take left me in the middle of nowhere. The second statement is I once ate 2 whole Peking ducks alone. And the third one is I once fell into the gap in between the ramp and the train while waiting for the subway.
Okay. Parang gusto kong maging truth yung parang maganda yan. Let's see, sige. Sige guys, what are your answers? Which one is the lie?
Ang hirap. Siguro.
Hirap.
I think
Sige, ako 2 na din.
3.
I think 2 is possible.
Possible. Totoo.
I'd say 3.
Diba?
Sige, let's see. So Don, what is the lie among your 3 statements?
Yeah, so the lie is actually statement 2.
Oh.
So statement 2 is the lie because I did not finish it on my own. I actually finished it with a friend. So in effect, isang whole bird naman kami.
Oh, okay. So I'd like to do a follow-up on the third statement. That's kind of interesting. What exactly happened when you fell like in between the ramp and itong event na to, and how was the feeling? Kamusta naman yung feeling na nangyari sa'yo yun?
Yeah, I mean, at the time I was a tourist. Obviously, that was in the States. And I guess I was a bit absent-minded because I was happy where I was, trying to take pictures in the subway. And I didn't realize that when the train arrived, I missed a step. So instead of actually stepping on the train, I stepped in between where the gap was. So the guy behind me, I guess he was in a rush. He just pulled me up and pushed me in. And I'm just thankful that all I got from the incident was a gash. So it wasn't a major incident. I didn't get injured, and it was all good.
O, diba? Like, memory abroad. So, all good. You're still alive and kicking.
I
So,
am
good
alive.
on time. Yeah. Okay. Now, let's have the last lady. Ano naman ang 3 statements ni Cassandra? Let's see this.
Okay, my 3 statements are I love video games. The second one is I love to paint. Then the third is I love riding motorcycles.
Okay, sige. One more time. So, number 1 is you
One,
love
video games. The second is I like to paint. And then the third is I love motorcycles.
Oh, God. God.
3 ako.
3 ka, Annie.
I feel like you painted your background, so I'm gonna go for 3.
Kaya give it ready.
Oh no,
So,
parang sinabi ko na.
Yeah.
I forgot. Kasama ko sila.
You're an artist. Parang you're not like the motorbike kind of person. Tama ba? Gina-geno. May judgment.
Pero tama po yung judgment. Everyone's correct. I don't like motorcycle.
So, what's up with motorbikes and riding motorcycles?
I remember when I was a kid kasi my lola, my ama, she would tell me that motorcycles are coffins on wheels because when you hit something, walang protection. So she would always say, if you ride a motorcycle, you're going to die. So until now, I'm terrified of motorcycles.
Oh.
Grabe naman pala ang mga childhood memories ni Cassandra tsaka ni Beef. Parang scarred for life.
Medyo lang.
Fruits gardening.
Very interesting. To know, Cassandra. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you to all the 4 of you, yes, for sharing your 2 truths and a lie. Maraming salamat. So, I hope na medyo we got to know each other a little bit with that. I think you've done that before, as sinabi naman kanina ni Beef. But right now, let's see what is happening on the comments before we move on to our next segment. All right? Meron ditong like one comment coming from Kay Calieja. Kay Calieja would like to say ang pogi nung candidate number 9. Sino ba yung candidate number 9 sa inyong dalawa? Who's candidate number 9?
I am.
Don, sino si Kay? Supporter ka? Do you know Kay?
Yeah, she's a good friend. So
Supportive.
thank you. I needed that.
Supportive ang mga friend. Another interesting comment here, si Lance Kua actually commented rice with beef. An actual emoticon of rice with beef.
Yep. Nice one. Actually, I've been using that for some time already.
Like put their brand out. Actually, I would like to ask, I know this has been asked plenty of times already. Saan nanggaling yung nickname na Beef? Beef ko. What's the story behind the name?
Okay, so my real name is actually Wellington. My father is also Wellington, so everybody calls me also Wellington Jr. or Welly or Ton. So for me, it never stick by, and it's pretty long when people ask me that nickname. So I don't know if you guys know this. It's a British dish. It's called beef Wellington. It's a British dish. It was made famous actually by Gordon Ramsay, and every time I heard the name Wellington or hear my name, see people call me, oh, beef, and I'm like, okay, that name stuck. And I guess it's more unique that way. It's easier for people to remember, right? And shorter.
Yeah. And actually, ano siya, may recall, tsaka may branding na pag sabing beef ko, instantly your face will pop out of their heads, di ba? So, good branding.
Yeah.
Good job sa nickname na yan. Another comment here. Actually, we have someone here who is actually a notable personality. Roxy Bayens, our Miss Philippines Earth 2020, would like to say #Rise with Annie. So your friends, you know Roxy, Annie?
Yeah, I know Roxy. She's my friend from Baguio. I
Ah,
used to
yeah.
study in Baguio. Then we modeled together once.
There you
Hi,
go.
Roxy.
Yes, hi, Roxy. Yes, actually, Roxy is now competing at Miss Earth 2020 in a virtual then. So, in a little bit, I'd like to ask your inputs or insights about like competing in a virtual competition. It's very interesting, di ba? So, I'd like to hear your thoughts. One last, this time, syempre, si Sylvia would like to say, go, 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 Cassandra Chan. Si Cyril Jeresha, hi. Will you say hi, Cassandra? There
Oh,
you go.
Ila, Ila.
From
Hello.
And so again, to all of the fans, keep the comments and the support coming in for our guests for tonight because right now we're going to start our next segment. So I know you mentioned a while ago, nila Annie and Beef, that you had you worked on your challenges for the competition. I'd like to
That's right.
see. I'd like to like put a spotlight on one specific challenge that I saw online. Yung My Chinoy Inspiration, yung My Chinoy Inspiration challenge. I think it's like a photo essay challenge. I'd like to show or flash some of your entries. And ang gagawin natin is, of course, I'm going to give you a chance to, like, to explain the concept, the message. Pero before you explain your own photo, I'd like to get like the insights and opinions of your co-candidates about your photo. Is that okay?
Okay, game.
Game, game.
Definitely.
Let's start off with the photo from Cassandra. Okay, si Cassandra muna. Si Cassandra na
Wow.
habang may hawak na pansit. Okay. Right. Okay. So that's the photo. Annie, what do you think of that photo?
So, first time ko nakita yung photo na yun, like, really amazed ako kasi she was able to, incorporate her talent and her Chinoy inspiration in one frame. So, parang so much love yung photo talaga.
Yes, correct. And actually kudos to the organization kasi sobrang ganda nung ng endeavor na to ng project na to kasi also like one good way of like doing the advocacy of like promoting the Filipino Chinese culture through the social media platforms, right? So Cassandra, ano naman yung story behind that photo? Ang hirap nun naka-point ka tapos may pansit. What's the story behind that?
Well, I just incorporated two of my favorite things in the world. I love dancing and I love ballet, and I also love food. And one of my favorites talaga are pancit. So I was researching on really good Filipino Chinese dishes, and I realized that pancit was from China, and they brought it here, and they melded it together with us. So I thought that's very important and very essential for me to show everyone that the Filipino and Chinese amalgamation, the how we work together, it can bring out something great. So I think pancit is like the best thing to show that food brings people together, and I think that's very important.
Correct, yes. And actually very very inspired yung shot na yon kasi it's like a good fusion of who you are like as a ballet dancer and your heritage like the love for Chinese food like pancit, 'di ba? I myself I may likad din ako sa like Chinatown like food strips. I was in Ying just 2 weeks ago.
Yum.
Del Yeah, so again, sarap talaga ng Chinese food and I love that part of the Chinese culture. So thank you for sharing that, Cassandra. Really great photo. Now let's have the photo coming from Don. Let's see this. This one's quite interesting as well. Si Don naman, ang kanyang photo entry ay ito. Ayan. Something about the dice. So ikaw naman, Beef. Ano naman ang masasabi mo sa photo na yan? Ni Don.
When I see it, I'm like, wow, so much suave. Like when his hands are there, and I'm like, damn, like, let's do this good job, bro. And all I can say is probably has to do something with your chances of being with Dawn or something like that.
Ay, my God. Don.
That's
Is Beef
that's your
interpretation of the photo, Don? What is the story behind that My Chinoy inspiration photo?
Yeah, I mean when we were asked to do this challenge, and the instruction really was to think of an inspiration that relates to life and something that means something to you. I immediately thought of the dice game because when we play dice, especially now that it's nearing Mooncake Festival again, you don't always get the reward that you want, and to me that's life sometimes. But keep trying, eventually, one ka na. So I think that's the key. You just have to keep rolling your dice, and in life, eventually, you get what you want in the end.
Yes. Actually, I'd like to also mention yung caption mo rin. When I saw the caption, napaka-profoundong message yung caption mo doon. Really, really
Oh.
great message about like taking chances, like taking a shot at life, which is I
Yeah.
think what four of you are doing right now. You're taking a shot at life, like doing this chance of like being Miss Chinatown Philippines 2020. And I think that photo actually captures the entire of what you're doing here right now, being a candidate to this competition. So good job done for that. Let's
Thank
have
you. I appreciate it.
now, actually, sino pa yung next natin? Si Beef. Let's have Beef this time. Yung photo ni Beef. Ayan. Na very cool, relaxed. Diba? Parang model lang siya ng mooncake sa bahay. Cassandra, what can you say about this photo?
Oh my, the first time I saw this picture, I imagined Chinese James Bond. 'Cause, your styling is very suave. You're holding a mooncake. And I think it was Mooncake Festival a day ago. So I think it's very timely and really stylish. I really liked it.
Thank
Pwedeng
you.
cake, no? Pwedeng endorser ng mooncake si Beef ko. O, diba? So, Beef, yes, thank you, Cassandra, for
Yes.
that insight. Beef, ano naman yung story behind this My Chinoy inspiration photo of yours?
Actually,
Okay.
sorry about that. Actually, Cassie's right. It is the mooncake season, right? And for me, like ever since before, like mooncake has always been a symbolism of togetherness and together with Dawn's dice game. Because when you're in the mooncake festival, you guys have what you call a dice game that brings two people together. And especially right now during the pandemic, I rarely say this, but it brought my family a lot more together during the season. And it's like we're doing Mooncake Festival together right now in the pandemic because not just because we don't have a choice, but because I think the vibe of the pandemic is to be together. That's why the Mooncake. I really appreciate the Mooncake as itself.
Correct. And actually, ano siya eh, maganda siyang symbolism for like, the Chinese families being like really close-knit, di ba? Just a great symbolism for that. So, Beef, thank you for sharing that story behind the mooncake photo. And lastly, kay Annie naman tayo. Let's see your entry. Actually, this is one of my favorites among that batch. Di ba? Very fashion. Parang high fashion photo ito. Yes. So, Don, what do you say about this photo na ginamit pa ang Chinese herbs as part of the
Yeah.
fashion show?
Yeah, I mean, when I saw the photo, obviously Annie looks very beautiful. And if there's something that really struck me about what she said, it's that when she was younger, she did not like Chinese medicine. So, I mean, I don't like Chinese medicine also, even as a kid. But I agree with Annie. Some things, even unorthodox methods work sometimes, and we shouldn't be close-minded about that.
Yes, that's actually a really great insight. Annie, ano naman ang iyong story behind this? Is Don right about what he mentioned about the photo? Anong story behind that?
Actually, Don is right about the thoughts that he has about the photo. Kasi when I was a kid, my ama used to let me drink herbal teas, and I really don't like the taste of it. But right now, I realize that herbs are, it means slow progress, but it will heal. So I incorporated it in the pandemic that we are experiencing right now. I felt that it will go away. Time will heal, and but as long as we have cooperation and the solidarity, and everything is gonna be fine. So
Yeah, it's a really great message. Thank you, Annie. And alam nyo talaga guys, yung mga not for photos lahat ng photos sa may entry yung mga co-candidates really well thought out, really creative. I'm not too sure how you pulled out that photo shoot, considering that in your own homes, di ba? Sobrang creative. So it really takes a lot of creativity, a lot of like hard work on your end. So congratulations on that. And to all the fans, if you haven't checked the other photos of the candidates of Mr. and Chinatown Philippines 2020, you have to check them out right now. Of course, not right now, but then after the interview, you can see the other creative shots by their co-candidates. Now, since we already talked a little bit about the culture, the relationship of the photo with your like with Chinese culture, syempre, as an ambassador to Mr. Chinatown Philippines, you are trying to become an ambassador of like Chinese culture in the Philippines. I'd like to ask, maybe siguro kay ano mo, if syempre, if you talk about culture and you talk about like race, there's mga misconceptions, di ba? May mga misconceptions rumors about the Filipino Chinese being like this, you only do this sort of thing. If you're going to like pinpoint one specific misconception about the Filipino Chinese community or being Filipino Chinese for that matter, what is that one thing?
Yeah. The question is for me, right?
For yeah, pwede naman doon, sige, yeah, doon.
Okay, sorry, I misheard. But yeah,
Yes.
well, since so,
Okay,
I'm sorry about that.
Go.
But yeah, I mean, now that we're talking about it, I think one of the misconceptions that I personally want to dispel is that Chinoys are kuripot. Honestly, I know a lot of Chinoys who are very, very generous and who always give from their heart. And if anything, I do know some Chinoys as well who are, I wouldn't say kuripot, but matipid. They're not wasteful people. And sometimes, kasi to me, kuripot has this negative meaning to it. So I'd rather say that they are frugal. So, matipid sila. Hindi sila stingy, which is, that's a little problematic to me.
Yeah, kasi pag sinabi namang stingy, parang that's too extreme, di ba? Na parang
Yeah.
you earn, but then you don't want to spend it. I mean, what's the point of earning money if you don't want to spend it? Kasi beef, ano naman yung isang misconception? What is that one misconception that you have?
Actually, ever since before, I've been asked about this so many times, and I mean, there's no offense when I say this, but every time that they say, "Oh, so do you have a family business in hardware or in construction?" I mean, that's the usual misconception that they always say. So I'm just saying out there that not all of us have a hardware store out there, and I'm not offending anybody who has a hardware store, but yeah.
Oo nga, no, baka,
I don't know if you guys can agree with me.
si Cassandra, do you agree with that? Na mga ganung misconceptions about like what your family does for a living, what your family business is?
Yes, actually, Beef got it right on the nail because my family business, I think we sell raw steel, so it's always in the hardware business, and it's a true stereotype, but it's something to be proud of. I think nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah, that's actually correct naman. Pero syempre, of course, from someone who is an outsider looking in, parang yun yung one of the most common misconceptions no? Kapag Chinese ka, family business,
Definitely.
like, it's not really truth all throughout. Cassandra naman, what about you? What are the misconceptions?
Actually, I have something similar to Dawn, and one of the biggest misconceptions I've always gotten was that the Filipino Chinese community is very close-minded. We're only to ourselves, and I could say that with my experience and with what I witnessed, a lot of organizations, a lot of people have been giving back to their community, and one of these organizations is, of course, Miss Chinatown and Bahay Chinoy. So they've given a lot of PPEs, a lot of meals, and a lot of help to the medical industry during this time. So I think that's very timely, and I think more Filipinos should know about this, that we love to give back and we're very generous.
Yes, and of course, I'm not too sure where that misconception is coming from, but I think, kasi I also worked for Makati Hope Christian School. I did like something there for a year, na parang the Filipino Chinese kids there, parang at an early age, they are already parang they are already developing the mindset na you will have to give back to the community in whatever way that you can, right? I mean, your parents are like, working really hard for you to go to a really good school, but then ultimately when you graduate and get a job, you will have to make sure that when you earn your own money, you will have to also learn how to give back to the community,
Yes.
because it's like
Agree.
parang cultivating like a cycle of gratitude,
Yes.
di ba?
Agree.
Gratitude in the community. So really good. That's a really great statement, Cassandra. Si Annie naman, ano naman yung misconception usually na nakukuha mo that you want to dispel?
Okay, so aside from na we don't own a tikoy factory, because when my friends saw me, they always ask me for tikoy, especially pag malapit na yung Chinese New Year. So aside from that, same with beef, na people thought we Chinoys are into business lang, but I want to point out that we are, we venture into different fields already. Some are doctors, some are architects, fashion designers, even politicians. So I just want to dispel now Chinoys are, very resilient, and we're not just into business.
Yes, kasi parang yung actually that's one common misconception talaga na it's all about business kapag Chinese ka. Na I think the competition that you are joining right now, it's just one great indication of how well-rounded, how multifaceted the Filipino Chinese community is. And I am really happy that you are here to actually be that face of the multifaceted and well-rounded Filipino Chinese for Mr. and Miss Chinatown Philippines 2020. Now, let's talk about this time the competition, definitely. Since of course the pandemic is still here, restrictions are still in place, 'di ba? Marami pa rin tayong mga cases. And it's actually a really good thing that the organization still push through even if it's virtually, 'di ba? I'd like to know your thoughts on like why did you join this competition, this year's edition, kahit na virtual siya? What pushed you to actually join? Siguro let's start off with Beef. What pushed you to join this virtual edition of Mr. and Miss Chinatown Philippines?
For me, I believe that to be honest, like it was more this year. It's more of a movement rather than a pageant. And we keep saying that here in Mr. and Miss Chinatown that everything that we do, we all have our own advocacy, and that's what I want to focus on. That each and every one of the candidates here have an advocacy to share, and that's when I got the idea that I think that's what I want to also show and share to the rest. My own advocacy during this pandemic and how we can rise together. Because for sure, Cassie, Annie, and Don, they have their own advocacy to share. It's going to be great to add another one, right?
Yes, actually, since you mentioned something about the Rise, okay, I actually want to show yung official poster na actually kasi really interesting yung hashtag ninyo, di ba? It's hashtag
Yes.
Rise with MMCP. Very interesting, very powerful hashtag. Sige, Don, what does this hashtag mean to you?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Yes, what is the significance of this hashtag? Hashtag Rise with MMCP. Anong significance of this hashtag?
Yeah, in terms of the significance of the hashtag, it really has to do with the four pillars that this movement is based on this year. It's all about rebuilding, inspiring, strengthening, and empowering other people. And what happens is, I think at its core, it's because what with all the negative things that's been happening in our world today, it seems the negatives are overpowering the positives. So we're really just in this place where we are trying to turn it instead into an opportunity where we can all rise together, not just as a Chinoy community, but as the society as a whole.
That's a really great statement. Yes, actually, powerful and very impactful yung hashtag, di ba, na Rise with MMCP. What about Annie? What does this hashtag mean to you, specifically as a candidate this year?
For me, rise for me means quote unquote, it doesn't matter how many times you fall. What matters the most is how you were able to pick up yourself and keep going. Because for me, at the end of the day, in every life situations, we will only be left with two options. First is to make yourself miserable or be bitter towards everything that is happening around you, and second is to make yourself stronger or better. Uh, if you choose the if you choose the latter, and I think that you will be able to rise again, whatever the challenges that you are facing, especially now during the pandemic.
Yes, okay, really great. Okay, now si Cassandra naman, since I want to highlight this time kasi I know that you guest Showtime kaninang tanghali, 'di ba? Yes, and parang may na-mention about like the activity, mga like the things that you're going to do. And then parang na-mention na parang may TikTok segment ang competition. That's actually a fun thing to know. Cassandra, sige, maybe you can share a little bit. Ano ba yung mga things that we need to expect for the...
Okay, so okay, I'm very excited for this because we're already in our challenge 2. So we have 2 TikTok videos that we're going to post and going to share. So I can't say what it is for now, but it's definitely going to be in line with the Rise hashtag and of course the Filipino Chinese culture and Filipino Chinese style. So I'm very excited for that. And since it's going to be online, you just have to wait for a couple of days and all of our entries will be online. So just please wait for that.
Yes, so kailangan pala may TikTok account ang mga
Yes.
content this year. So ito ba ay may kasamang like dance challenge? I'm not too sure. Maybe like a sneak peek lang, like a dance challenge or creative performance challenge so that we can expect
I
what's going.
think for the first one, I'll give a sneak peek. So it's more about fashion for the first TikTok. And then the second one will be more about culture and education. So
Oh, so talagang ine-embrace ng organization yung new normal, no? Not only the social media platform, but using the other popular platforms already to make sure
yes.
that a lot of the people of the are tuned in at the competition here. Now, speaking of the competition this year, let's delve more into that. What exactly is going to happen during the final night? Since virtual this segment, are we also going to expect a virtual finale for this year's edition? What will happen? Siguro si Don, maybe what can you share so that we can expect?
Yeah, so it's going to be a virtual finale, and it's going to be very, very exciting. Obviously, on that night, we will find out who Mr. and Miss Chinatown will be. And there's a lot to look forward to, even building towards the coronation night. Again, Cass mentioned we have TikTok challenges. If you guys haven't checked it out, we have our Chinoy inspirations out there. And there's a lot in store from all 24 of us.
Yeah. So what about Annie? And what else can you expect aside from what Cassandra and Don mentioned? Like in terms of your own preparations, ano ba yung mga kailangan naming abangan during the competition?
Actually, same with them. We have a lot of challenges, and that is something na kailangan nila talaga abangan because we did this on our own, and yeah, it's something na very exciting.
There you go. So to all of the fans, again, this is something really exciting Annie mentioned. Kasi I think the very first virtual edition of this competition, no? So,
Yeah.
ang abangan. It's really fun. It's going to be a really fun and exciting year for Mr. and Miss Chinatown Philippines 2020. And to all of the fans, you will have to stay tuned to all of the activities in store for everyone. Now, speaking of the fans, let's see if we already have some questions from our fans. So, to all of our viewers right now is the time for you to key in your comments and questions for our guests for tonight. Okay, so I think we have here one question coming from Shane Shane Morales Garcia. Okay, ito medyo challenging tong question na to. Si Shane Morales Garcia would like to ask, this is also related to your being an ambassador of the Phil Chai community and the pandemic. He'd like to ask, as an ambassador of Chinese community in the Philippines, how will you help and contribute to help the Philippines rise up? O, di ba? Using the hashtag rise up from this pandemic. Let's start off with Beef.
Okay. So actually, from my perspective since before, I've always beat myself down especially during cases like this. I would never really believed in myself until I realized that thinking of that negative kind of mindset will actually get you nowhere. And rising up from this pandemic means you also have to make a move on yourself. And how to do that is that you always have to take into consideration the first problem, which for me is more mental health awareness, which I am focusing on more. So right now, if to rise from the pandemic with the community, we provide everyone a stepping stone on how to make sure that our mental health will be definitely better by the end of the day. Depends on how you want to fix up your situation. So yeah,
Really,
more of like mental health.
really great statement. Beef, thank you for answering that. Ito naman, medyo light question this time kay for Cassandra and Don. Lance Kuo would like to ask, what is your favorite Chinese tradition? Ayan. Siguro si Cassandra muna.
Okay, so during birthdays, we should always wear red. So my ama and my uncle would always tell me, "Kasi diting ang shak." So it means you have to wear red. And I used to never like it before because I used to be a big fan of the color blue. And as I grew up, I started buying and collecting more red clothes, and I began to love it. So I think that's something that that's a tradition that I used to hate before, but I started to love in the end. So I love red. I love red clothing, and I wear it even during non-birthdays too.
Wow. Actually, marami talagang colorful traditions ang Chinese, no, na
Mhm.
very cool, very significant. So, that's actually one great thing. Don, what about you? Ano
Yeah,
answer mo?
yeah. Well, for me, I don't know if it's a Chinese tradition per se, but there's this tradition, at least in our household, where every Christmas, what my taikong used to do was to hang ang pao on our Christmas tree instead of Christmas balls. And the ang pao, they have different amounts in them. And on Christmas Day, when everyone meets to gather, tough luck. If you get an ang pao with a substantial amount, then good for you. If it's not so substantial, then Merry Christmas. And I've always liked that tradition. It's something that I would like to pass on also once I have kids and grandkids of my own.
Oh, interesting. Actually, meron akong personal question before we move on to the other fan questions. Ano ba, like, hardcore requirement ba na kailangan fluent kayo magsalita ng Chinese when you join Mr. and Miss Chinatown? Is it like a hardcore requirement that you have to be fluent? And ano ba ang what's your take on that?
Hindi naman, as long as you can converse. I think it's great.
So, pwede na basta pwede mag-converse.
Yeah. Like the basics, you know how to speak, how to greet people, yung mga basics.
Okay. Kasi actually, napansin ko rin, again, when I taught in Makati Hope, parang hindi naman lahat ng Phil-Shy students are really like really fluent in speaking Chinese, diba? Actually, para daw sa kanila, very challenging nga daw yung subject na yun because a lot of them didn't really grow up with Chinese or Mandarin for that matter in the household being the first language. So actually, that's a really like refreshing and welcome remark that you said, Annie. Okay, may nagtanong dito. This is actually like a segue to our second to the last question. Si Mark Jefferson Flores, among them who plays mahjong? O di ba? May gusto magtanong. Who among you plays mahjong?
I play mahjong.
I don't know how.
So,
I don't know how.
So si Beef nagmamahjong daw. So Beef, you play mahjong?
I actually just learned last week. So I just learned how to play last week.
Oh, di ba? And Annie as well, you play mahjong.
Yeah, because my mom used to play mahjong. So when I was a kid, I was always like watching her lang ganyan. But growing up, I also learned how to play na. It's fun.
Paturo and
Oh, yeah. So maybe
that's true.
Si Annie can teach Cassandra and Don play mahjong.
Please.
Yeah.
Or
I want to learn.
Ayan. Okay.
These are the stuff you learn during pandemic.
Siguro second to the last one more from Zia ko, from your sister, Beef. May tanong siya. a standing representation to all Chinoys right now in the country, what is the best characteristic of being a Chinoy that you can think of that we can all adapt and use through this pandemic? Ang challenging ng question ng sister mo, ha? Okay. Sige, let's ask that question muna kay Cassandra. Ano daw yung
Hmm.
best characteristic of being a Chinoy that you can use during this pandemic?
I think the most timely value that we as Filipino Chinese can always use is that we have a strong sense of community. I think that I mentioned earlier that as a community we love giving back, and we love giving back to people who need it the most, especially the medical industry. So I think that's one value that we could really use for the pandemic, for this lockdown, because a lot of people are in need. So not just the medical industries, but also teachers as well, and students. And there's so many more people that we can help. And I think that value of the Filipino Chinese can is more timely in this lockdown.
There, that's a really great answer. Don naman, what for you is like the best characteristic of being Filipino that you can use during the pandemic?
Yeah, to me, the one of the best values I think is the most basic. It's really kindness and respect. That's something that my family personally always tells us. No matter who you meet, wherever you are, always, always, always be kind and respectful towards people. If you don't agree with them, then at least just let them be. You don't have to be mean, or you don't have to be, hasty towards anybody. And now more than ever, I think that's something that we all have to live out.
There, really great. Alam nyo, I'm really proud of your answer right now kasi parang you're so actualized, you're so sure of yourselves. So really great answers. I think the four of you really have what it takes to win the main title. So congratulations on your answer for tonight. And before we end though, I'd like to make a special shout out to one of our Sash Factor hosts, si Bessie Besana. Bessie Besana will say hi, Cassandra, specifically to you. Hey, Bessie, thank you for watching. Yes, ayan. I'm going to like flash one more comment here. Meron akong very very I don't know, naughty or specific comment for beef. Si Von Johnson Thea would like to say beef corned me. Oh, ayan oh. Beef corned me. Si Von. Meron ka bang reply sa message na yon, sa comment na yon, beef?
Medium rare or well done?
Oh my.
There you go. Okay. And of course, actually marami na rin nagtatanong sa comment section. I think this is the perfect segue for us to talk about when and where can we exactly watch the grand coronation of Mr. and Miss Chinatown Philippines 2020. Who can answer that question? Maybe Don. Yes, Don.
Yeah. So the grand coronation night of Mr. and Miss Chinatown Philippines, again, that will be on October 18, and everyone can catch it on the Kapamilya channel. So to everyone who's watching, lalo na sa ating mga kapamilya, stay tuned.
There you go. Thank you, Don. And of course, this is we're going to end the interview right now. We're about to end this great conversation. I'd like to hear, of course, your final message to all of your supporters, to your family, and to your friends, for your journey here as a candidate in Mr. and Miss Chinatown Philippines 2020. Let's start off with Annie. Ano yung final message mo tonight?
Final message. So I just would like to thank everyone for supporting me. Your little message of good luck or Godspeed means a lot to me. So it really helped me in the journey for Mr. and Miss Chinatown, and I'm really so grateful for all of you. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you, Annie. What about C Beef? What is your final message for tonight?
I'm also thankful, for all the supporters, family, and friends who've been supporting me throughout this whole journey. But I'd also like to thank all the co-candidates for sharing your advocacy, sharing the time that you're here, especially the intent that you're giving for this, the intent you're giving to this movement, especially for rebuilding, inspiring, strengthening, and empowering everyone. So kudos to everyone who is with me here, the co-candidates, and for everyone who's been supporting this movement.
There you go. Thank you, Beef. Don, what is your final message message.
You know what? I've never meant it more than I do now. Thank you so much to my family, to my best friends, to my workmates, everyone who's in it to support me. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm doing anymore, but they keep pushing me. And for that, win or lose, the experience will always be worth more than the prize. So thank you, everyone.
There you go. And finally, Cassandra Tan, what is your final message to all of your supporters right now?
Well, of course, I want to thank my family and my friends for supporting me. And of course, my students who I see every day. I love you all. And of course, I would like to thank Sash Factor and Sir Noy for having us here because this is a super fun night and I really enjoyed myself with everyone. So thank you again for having us.
There you go. And thank you, of course, thank you very much, guys, for gracing our interview for tonight. Before we end, of course, I'd like to take an opportunity to invite your fans and supporters to your social media accounts and your TikTok. Kasi I think kailangan nyo ng support, di ba? Si Beef muna, where can they follow you?
Both for Instagram and TikTok, you guys can follow me at Beef Cuts. So Beef Cuts. That's literally both for my TikTok and Instagram.
There you go. Beef Cuts for Beef Co. What about si Don? Where can they follow you?
Yeah, so everybody, you guys can follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. It's the same handle. It's at Dontang, DONTANGGG.
There you go. And Cassandra, where can they follow you?
On IG and on TikTok, you can follow me at Kazuchan. So it's CAZZUCHAN. And on Facebook, you can follow me at Cassandra Romeo Chan. So you can find me, just write my full name and I'll be there.
There you go. And your fans and supporters follow you.
So my Instagram and TikTok account is at Usoneina, USONEINAAA. So I have a triple A at the end. So and on Facebook you can find me by just typing my name, Annie Uson, with a single N sa Annie.
There you go. Again, to all of the fans and viewers tonight on Sash Factor, follow these four candidates on their social media and their TikTok accounts. I think they need your support more than ever for the competition. Cassandra Chan, Annie Uzon, Don Tang, and Beef Co, maraming salamat for gracing Sash.
Thank you so much.
So much
Thank you
for
guys.
having.
Yes, thank you. And the best of luck sa inyong apat, sa inyong journey. And hopefully, we'll see you soon with the title, maybe, or we never know, di ba? Our next interview would be with the title or with the crown already. The best of luck. And of course, maraming salamat. And to all of our fans and viewers tonight, thank you also for watching our Sash Factor live chat episode this Friday night. And of course, stay tuned here on Sash Factor for more exclusive live interviews with, of course, maybe some of our candidates for Mr. Miss Chinatown Philippines 2020 and other pageant-related live content. So this has been your host for tonight, Noy Sabilano, saying, have a great Friday night, stay safe, and maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Bye, everyone!
You. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.